Welcome to Beyond the Book. I'm your host, JoAnn Dickinson, and today I'm joined by children's author Carol
Lomasney.
Lomasney. Thank you, Carol. A wife, mom, and three from Michigan, and the heart behind books that inspire courage, kindness, and faith. From Grew Very Brave to her newest release, The Best Friend Crew, Carol's story reminds kids what it means to grow with love, confidence, and friendship. Welcome, Carol. Share with us a bit about why did you start writing children's books?
Ironically, I never thought I'd become a children's book author. I love to read. When I was younger, I loved to read books like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Charlotte's Web, The Great Apoc Tree or K-Pop Tree, and Stone Soup, like books like that. And that fostered my love of reading. But it wasn't until I became a mom where I'm like, oh, I need to write books that kids would love, just like my own kids love, their own picture books. And what really inspired me were my kids. They were all going through different issues like fear and bullying and things like that. So I wanted something where they can see themselves in the story. So really, I became an author for my children. So the first book that I wrote was inspired by my daughter, Leah, and this is I Grew Very Brave. That was inspired by my daughter. And then after I wrote that one, my other 2 kids were like, "Well, what about me? What about my own books?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I'll write a book for you too." So this next one is inspired by my littlest, my son, David, and this is called The Best Friend Crew, and then I have another one coming out inspired by my middle because I can't forget her. A lot of my inspiration comes from my kids.
Oh, I love that. I love the style, the design of your covers on your series. That's what really caught my eye.
Yeah.
I think they're adorable. I'm sure kids, when they see them, they're drawn right to them. I like the latest book that you launched just the beginning of this month, The Best Friend Crew.
Yes, I feel like less is more, especially with the cover. So that's why I liked the main character in the very beginning, and hopefully the kids can see themselves in these characters a little bit, not because of the animals, but because just the eyes are so big and they're so the sweetness of the character's face and features.
I think they will. Let's hop into the questions, Carol. Your new book, The Best Friend Crew, celebrates friendship and belonging. What inspired this story and what message do you hope children take away from it? You get your inspiration from your kids, right? Is it situations that happen with them?
Yes. Bullying has been a really big part of my family. I mean, all 3 of my kids have gone through bullying, and my oldest especially, every year there's been some sort of bullying. So trying to navigate how to teach my kids how to stand up for themselves, but also how to be empathetic and kind because I know bullying starts young. I feel like it starts younger and younger every year, but bullying starts young. Well, I try to teach my kids to stop the bullying now. Like, they don't have to wait till they're older to stop the bullying. So in this book, it kind of has 2 perspectives. The perspective of David the mouse, who is being bullied and kind of speaks up for himself, and then Goliath the cat, who is the one bullying David and his friends. So the perspective is Goliath goes through his own little bullying scenario in the story, and it exposes that kids who bully are also the ones being bullied or could be something that they're going through. And what I really like is that David, the mouse, is empathetic towards that and he changes the cycle or breaks the cycle of bullying by understanding what they're going through and then offering a different choice. So Goliath chooses to be kind and to apologize, chooses to forgive. So I want kids to learn because what I would want my kids to know. And my kids are probably not always the best friends either. So I want my kids to know that whether they choose to be kind.
I love that. The cat was bullied and the whole message behind that. I think that's a great message. You have to forgive, and that's hard for kids. Once
It
they've been
is.
bullied, you don't wanna be their friend anymore, and
Right.
that's a great message.
Yeah. And it happens within our family too. Like my youngest two are not always the nicest to each other. And sometimes I'll hear them say, well, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And I don't want to. And I'm like, "Well, just learn to forgive, teach them that they're not doing the right thing, and then you're gonna have to get along. Forgive each other. You guys live in the same place, so it's like, okay, learn to forgive each other and kind of choose the better."
I think they're very resilient when they see the example and you keep enforcing that.
And it starts early too, I think, like, learning how to navigate, um, that type of behavior in themselves and in others. So I think as long as parents can get stuff like this in front of them early on, I think it could change the trajectory of the generation.
Absolutely. Your stories often empower kids to be brave, kind, and confident. How do you make sure those powerful lessons feel natural within the storytelling instead of teaching moments?
Some of my topics or like bullying is a heavy topic for an elementary school age child, and fear can be a heavy topic if not told in a gentle way. So I try to do it really gently and in a way where they can understand or can relate. I also use a lot of animals. I don't know about you, but I love animals, and I feel like animals kind of soften the story a little bit. So that's how I gently introduce the problem. And then I'm hoping that they can see themselves in the actions of a lot of the characters. Like to be kind, it's them. They can be kind, they can be brave. But then there's also times when they're not, where they're not the nicest kids and you can change. So I'm hoping that they can see themselves in each of these characters and in the ending, how doing the right thing is more impactful than doing the wrong thing.
I know. I was thinking the other day about a lot of my books also have animals in them and thinking about writing another book. Do I want it to be animals or do I want it to be people? I just love the illustrations of animals. I think
Yes.
animals are so much cozier and cuddly
Yeah.
looking, and you can have that plushie made or other plushies out there look like that characters. I think it's just natural that we do that as authors. You've mentioned your creativity often sparks late at night or in the quiet morning hours. What is it about those moments that bring your best ideas to life? I've always been like that, Carol. Give me peace and quiet in the morning. Share with
Yeah.
us why that's so great
Exactly.
for you.
Well, it's a busy life here in the Lomasney family. All my kids are at 2 different schools, like, the oldest 2 are at one school, my youngest is at a different school. I work full time, my husband works full time, and then I write books, and we're very involved in ministry, so our lives are pretty busy, but, it's those quiet moments that I really, really enjoy, and I think that's when it sparks creativity a little bit more, where I can think instead of listening to everybody's else's ideas, I can, like, really hone into the ideas that I could be thinking of for a book or kind of a lot of reflection through the day, like, what did we go through? Like, what scenarios did we go through the day with the kids? And then I'm like, "Oh, I wish there was a book or something that I could write about helping them through the situation," and a lot of that happens at night. A lot of the color I read myself a lot of books, so that's when I reflect and be like, "Oh, this book is really cute. I really wish that I had something of my own that I could read and create."
I love that you are able to read other books and that sparks an interest of how can I implement that into my family? Even teachers that read 5, 6 books a day, using those as teaching tools to teach their kids certain lesson plans that they're doing. I didn't know your husband was in ministry. My
Yeah.
husband and I are Christians as well. How have your faith and family influenced the heart centered themes we see across all of your books? I know sometimes we say it has to be implemented carefully. I talked to another author that said she can't read those books in a public school. So I'm curious to see how you implement it.
I feel like the Bible talks about a lot about, like, kindness and graciousness, forgiveness, and that doesn't have to be preached to everybody. It's just second nature to us, and I don't know, I feel like it doesn't have to be preached to children. Like, all children should know forgiveness. All children should know kindness, and becoming brave. So I feel like that stuff is easy for me because we live it so much. We try to live it out so much at home where I hope that it would spread out to families around us. So I'm hoping that in the books that it is Christ centered, it is biblically centered, faith based, and people could take it any way that they want. But I mean, kindness, being sweet and nice to somebody, and not being a bully is kind of like a universal message to people. And as Christians, I hope that we would all share that with people.
Absolutely. That should just be a natural trait for people. I've met people that they're mean-spirited, but there's gotta be a source of why they are like that.
Yeah.
You don't even have to relate it to the Bible. You should just be kind and compassionate, and I've told my husband before, empathy, I feel like a lot of people don't have empathy or even understand what that means.
Right. Yeah, and hoping it comes through in the books. I mean, for me, me and my husband always talk about, like, how would we want our kids to grow up to be adults? And that's what we're doing. We're training them to be adults. And it starts now. So if they don't learn empathy and forgiveness and kindness now, they're going to have a really difficult time learning it as an adult. So it starts now. So that's what I'm hoping my books would help bring to the kids. I really feel like my passion is to change a generation, and whether it's through the written word or whether it's through just doing things that help the next generation, I'm hoping that these books would bring that because the books would leave a mark. Words and stories last forever, so I'm hoping that these books would change the next generation, to be kind, to be fearless, and to stop the negativity in the world and the darkness.
I love that, Carol. From illustrations to editing, every book is a team effort. Can you share what collaborations looks like for you and your team helps bring the vision to life? You have a wonderful illustrator. I love her style. Share
Yeah.
about your collaboration with her.
Yeah, well, Maxine, she's awesome. She lives in South Africa, so our communication is very distant, but we do a lot of voice memos and we also use Canva as well. So, we'll like talk to each other via voice memo, which is faster and easier for us. And then on Canva, we'll collaborate on the pages. So she'll put it in Canva and share her sketches with me. So in the very beginning, it's all sketching, of course, and then I'll add in like, "Hey, this needs to be this way. Let's switch the pages. Let's switch the illustrations on the pages because the words will be here." So we do a lot of that communication back and forth. And then once that's done, she, of course, starts coloring, but we've been together for 2 years now. I think we know each other really well. We know what each other likes and how each other works, so we both have weaknesses and strengths, and we kind of, help each other and lift each other up, and we also give each other grace because life happens. So, I think we've become good friends throughout the process, and I'm really enjoying that, and also she is a Christian as well, so it kinda helps that she has the same heartbeat for the stories
Yes.
as I do. So that really makes a difference. And I know some authors hire based on illustrations, and which is a good thing, but I love that I can say that she understands the story behind all of this, and she has the same values and goals as I do, so it kinda helps drive that.
100%. I want to know a little bit more about how do you communicate through Canva?
So she's putting me on, I think it's a collaborator, or, she's putting it on Canva and then she's sharing it with me. And then there's a way you can view it or edit things on there. So we've been able to do that. And then there's a notation part in Canva where I can put notes in and be like, hey, page 2 needs to, add this, or let's take away this on page 35. So that makes it a little easier for me and her so that, and especially with the time differences too, it's hard to catch each other on the same same time, so that's really helped, and I think we started the Canva sharing the second book. The first book, it was more emails back and forth, and I thought that was a little bit more difficult because it was hard to, be like, "Okay, was this changed yet or was this not?" So it was difficult to be like, "Okay." I had to keep redoing things because we weren't sure if we caught each other at the right emails, and emails get piled up. Has really, really changed the game for us, especially in the second time around. Yeah, so it was a lot easier.
It Does she create them on Procreate or does she paint?
I am not sure about her process, but I think she creates it in her program and then downloads it into Canva, and then I do my notations, and then she completes it.
So that's a first between the author and the illustrator sharing the illustrations on Canva. Great idea. Your stories connect deeply with both kids and parents. What feedback from readers has meant the most to you since releasing the Best Friend Crew?
I did have a mom come to me saying that she loved the story of the Best Friend Crew because her son was actually the bully in the school, and he was going through a difficult time in his life, and he kind of thought down upon himself that he had to be the bully because this was a persona that he had at school. And I think after he read the book, he realized that he doesn't have to choose to be the bully all the time. Like he can change, he can have friends and he can be kind and he can have a group of friends that he can get along with. So I think that's really helped this mom relay the story that you don't always have to be the bully and it's a choice that you make. And if you decide to bully somebody, there's also forgiveness that comes into play and that say you're sorry and then change the behavior. So I think this story really helped that family.
Oh, I love that you saw direct your book. I've read a lot, I've seen a lot where kids that are bullied, either they come from abusive families or somebody abusing them, and that's their defense mechanism. And so it's so unfortunate that they feel they have to go down that path. But I love that your books hopefully taught him that he didn't need to be.
Right, exactly. This is really what happened to one of my children. So one of their friends was bullying my kids, and I think that hits home because we love this friend, and so did my kids. So it was a way to kinda understand what this bully was going, and it was the same way she was being bullied by somebody else, which means she was bullying her best friend, which was my daughter. And we love this child so much, and that kind of resonated with, like, this book. I mean, this book was written before this happened, but then I'm like, "Oh, it does happen in real life." So I'm like, "Okay, that's just confirmation of, okay, this story needs to be told."
That's great. I
Yeah.
love that direct incident just confirmed what you need to write about, and that's so often as an author, that's what we see is things happen, confirmations that you need to write that. For aspiring children's author or parents listening today, what's one piece of advice you'd share about following your creative calling and getting started? So often, authors are afraid or they don't know where to start.
I would say just do it. Some authors kinda hesitate a little bit because they want everything to be perfect or they wanna know every single step of the process. And really, you're not gonna know until you're in it, and it's just a learning experience at that time. And I would also say get around a good community of authors if you can. Help each other. I mean, these podcasts are great because you can kinda see what different authors are going through, their creative processes, or how they like, even the tangible things like what works like the Canva thing, like how things work best for everybody. So get plugged into a good community of people that will lift you up and encourage you because you're going to have a lot of people that are really negative and say, "Oh, can you really do that?" And you can really do that. Get around other people that have done it and you can do it too. But just do it. Don't hesitate.
I know you showed your books at the beginning, Carol, but I want to see the inside. I actually have read that during the launch and I did a review. I love the illustrations.
This is the very first page. I love it. We love nature in our families. We love going on walks. We love flowers. I love these little mushroom houses. They're so sweet. So it's like a little I don't know, I like a little bit of whimsy in my stories and very colorful because I feel like elementary aged kids love color. And then in this story, Esther is in it. So a lot of my kids are hidden in this book. So Esther is was inspired by my daughter. And then the third book is The Squirrel, which is my middle child. So every time they see themselves in the story, they're like, "Oh, there's me." And I think that's super sweet, and that's, like, the personal pieces of my story. And a lot of the extra characters are my nieces and nephew. So I don't know if anyone's ever known that, but they're my nieces and nephew, and their names are in the stories. So they can read it and say, "Oh, there's me. There's our family." The family is super important to me.
Yes, I love that you included them in there as well. Oh, that's so special, I'm sure, for them.
Yeah, and Goliath is not after anybody.
He's
Goliath
just the bully.
is fine. Yeah, he's just a
Yeah.
bully.
I
I
love the
tried.
look on his face, his
Yes. And
expressions.
we were trying to figure out this was the hardest part, is trying to figure out if he was going to be on 4 legs or 2, which we were trying to, like, because the sizes of the mouse and the cat and, like, proportions and all that stuff, which I never even thought about, but my illustrator did. So we were like, "What should we do?" And I decided to go Goliath on all 4s. It's a very sweet, fun story, lots of colorful pictures,
It's
little cute
gorgeous.
mice.
She did a
So,
great
let me see what a
job.
book one is. But yeah, it's been really fun.
And happily ever after, they become friends.
I know. I usually try to paint the main character as, like, the hero, but the ones that are, like, gonna impact the world, because I want especially my kids to know that they're the ones that are gonna impact the world, and hopefully the readers will understand that they're the main characters, so they're good in the world.
You're teaching your kids to impact the world and making a difference. We need more people like that, more kids like that.
When I first became a mom, I was so afraid because the world was crazy, and, I mean, I don't think anything's changed, but
I don't think so either.
I was so afraid because 'cause I'm like, "What are we gonna do?" You know, my daughter was sick a lot when she was little, and I'm like I think one day I just snapped out of it and was like, "You can't be afraid forever for your kids, like, you have to, like, do something." So, this is why my kids really did inspire me. I'm not the person I was before I had children. I was very fearful person. I was very stressed and anxious all the time, but now becoming a mom, I'm like, "Okay, I have to, like, be a good example for my kids, and I don't want them to be afraid of everything." So, I'm like, "Okay, we gotta do this." And then, that's why I wrote the books.
Well, I love the stories that you write. I think they're so inspirational for kids. It's been wonderful talking with you and getting to know you better, Carol. Share with everyone where they can find your books. I love your website, by the way. I think
Thank you.
you did a great job.
Yeah, you can get them at carolklomasney.com, and I would love to ship you these sweet little stories, get them signed for you. And I'm also at a lot of events too, so just check out my events page on my website. You can find me somewhere.
Yes, and on Amazon too.
Yes, on Amazon as well.
I always encourage websites because they can get a signed copy is so much more meaningful and such a great gift. We've had such a great time learning more about you and your illustrator. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. Talk to you later.
Thanks for joining me on today's episode of Beyond the Book with JoAnn Dickinson. If you've enjoyed our conversation, don't forget to follow the show on Spotify or your favorite podcast app. Leave a review. It helps others discover the podcast. Share this episode with a friend or fellow book lover. Visit my website at JoAnnMDickinsonAuthor.com for free resources, author interviews, and more. Until next time, keep dreaming big and turning the page on your next great idea.